So for our second speaker this evening, we'll hear on the topic of crafting and effective speech. Cheryl Berry is going to present this. Cheryl is our Vice President of Education, also an accomplished contestant for our club and a successful one at that. So please welcome Cheryl Berry, Crafting and Effective Speech.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. So, you're going to give a speech. You know your topic. You know when you're going to give it. What do you do next? Anybody?
No.
Pardon me?
Procrastinate.
Procrastinate, okay? All right, I tend to look at how long can I put off doing it? When do I really have to get serious about putting my speech together? Well, if this is familiar thoughts for any of you, I like to give you some ideas to make your whole speech writing process a little bit easier. So let's start with the basics of a good speech, and that's the outline. You're going to have an introduction, the content of the speech covering 3 to 5 points or so, and a conclusion. That's a basic format for a speech. And I want to start you off with developing the content. Do not start with the introduction, please. Go to the content. So you're going to develop what the body of your speech is going to be about. Now, you're going to be describing a product, explaining a process, or telling a story. Some combination of those 3 things is typically what's in the middle of your speech. And so, instead of picking up a blank piece of paper and thinking, what do I do? Let the idea roll around in your head and jot down notes when the ideas come to you naturally. Soon you'll have a piece of paper and it'll have a number of different ideas. You'll collect anecdotes, little bits of research you've done, all your thoughts on this scintillating topic. Dirt, after all, scintillating. You're going to have a lot of dirt to work with here. So then you've got some information, some ideas, and let them kind of congeal, develop into a kind of a flow. And as you're working with this material and developing the body of your speech, you're going to be looking at your conclusion. Because ultimately, you've brought up this particular topic because you want to take your audience somewhere. By the end of that speech, you want them to feel something. You want them to do something differently, to think differently, to take some action. So as you're developing the body of the content of your speech and the different points you want to make, remember where you want to take your audience. And so the flow of your speech will develop, and what order you put those different points will evolve as you build your case for this conclusion for your speech. So you've got the flow, you've got your content, you know what order, and that's when I invite you to start rehearsing it in your head. You're walking the dog, you're laying down for a nap, just go through it in your head. How does it sound in your head as you would speak it? Now you'll notice at this point, the only thing I've had you do is write down a few notes to gather your thoughts. Yes, I'm inviting you to not become a literary person as you develop your speech, but to develop it in your mind as you would speak it naturally. Now, as you rehearse it in your mind, getting comfortable with the flow and what you would naturally link together with these different points, you're going to be rehearsing it in your head, and then record it. I have a little $30 recorder that I can take out when I feel like I'm ready to put something down. Now, some of you might have iPhones, and there's an app for Dragon that will actually transcribe that for you. I actually do the recording and type myself because I can type pretty fast. I like this process for a number of reasons. When you can transcribe your speech, you are capturing the natural flow of the spoken word. Your voice and the rhythm of that is very different from a literary work. Take my word for it. You can go ahead and try and transcribe your literary masterpiece. but you will be more effective if you go with your natural speaking cadence. So, you've transcribed how you're going to naturally flow with your topic. So you have something typed out. Then you can start to edit it. Because as you think about it and rehearse it more and more, you find a better way to say that. You can go and write it down. So this will develop and evolve through the whole making of your speech. Because as you practice, your speech will continue to evolve. You're fine-tuning your conclusion. Once you've got that flow, then think about your introduction. Because your introduction should set up your conclusion. And you also, once you know where you're going, you know how to introduce it. And so you're now at a point where your introduction is ready to be made. You've got your content, you've got your conclusion, now you're ready to craft your introduction. Then you can see how those points will all weave together nicely throughout your entire speech. Now, always I would suggest, memorize your introduction and memorize your conclusion. You want to start strong and end strong. Remember, just as your speech evolves, so will your speech writing process. And that's what Toastmasters is all about. We give you the opportunity to come here and to work out how you're going to be more effective. Relax. We are not your master's thesis review committee. We are not your biggest client. We're not your prospective employer. You can come here, experience a safe environment to work out your style and work out the kinks. After all, we're not going to throw rotten tomatoes at you. In fact, you will find that we are a safe and supportive environment for you, and we'll give you feedback so you can improve. And if you happen to know a Toastmaster, you know we have a very good time along the way.